Well, hi everyone. I'm Samantha Sellars. I am on social media as For 11 Hair, so I'm really excited to be here with you today. I'm coming to you from Southern California, where it is ridiculously hot right now. So I'm very happy to be in a nice air-conditioned room. And we're actually in my private studio where I take clients and film content. So this is my little sanctuary. So today we're doing a really fun color melt. And because if anyone's been to Starbucks lately, we know that pumpkin spice season is upon us. So I thought this would be a really fun opportunity to kind of jump into that because I love pumpkin spice, to do a pumpkin spice color melt. So we're working with 3 different tones today, our base color, and then 2 of our melt colors. So I'm using, for our base color, I've already applied her base color before we started, just for timing purposes. And so I'm using all Kenner color today. The base color is a 6 round copper, so a 6 BC, and I use 10 volume developer. And then I'm melting into two different mixtures. So this first one here that has, you can tell from this one, has a little bit of a more goldenish hue in the bowl, but this is, I'm just calling it Formula 2 and Formula 3. So Formula 2 is just straight 8C, which is 8 copper with 10 volume. And then this mixture is 8C, about 20 grams of 8C with 45 grams of 8 rose metallic with 10 volume. This is going to give just a little bit of a difference in tone because we don't necessarily need more brightness, but having a difference in tone is a really great way to have a really soft and beautiful melt. So what I'm doing here in this front section is I am taking really, really heavy leaves, and I'm putting one side, when I weave it, one side's going to the front, one side's going to the back. So for the ones that I'm pushing forward, I'm using my Formula 2, which is that 8C. And then for the ones that I'm bringing back, I'm using my Formula 3, which is that 8C and 8 rose metallic. So I am using permanent color today, but the 10 volume is not giving any, it's for deposit only. So I just want to have it be a little bit stronger, which is why I'm not using demi. Just a personal choice. You can absolutely do this with the demi color as well. Just my personal preference for today, especially on a doll head. I just like using more permanent color. So just making sure y'all can see me. So I'm not going to take a straight across section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tiny zigzag. So I want to keep this as diffused as possible. The more diffused your look is, the more of that melt you're going to get. So now that I have, let me see if I can tilt her. Yep, she's on there. All right. So I have a very slight little zigzag here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a thick weave. So I'm taking my nice big weaved section, separating them. Now this top section is going to go forward. This one's going to go back. This is how I'm going to be able to separate them. So now what I'm going to do, this one's back here out of the way. I'm going to lay this one down first. And if you notice, I am leaving a little gap between the base and the color that I'm applying. And the reason being is we're going to go back through that, add a little bit more of the color, And I'm going to smush the base color and the accent color together to really get that nice melt. You can comb through, but honestly, I always just prefer to use my fingers. That way I can apply the right amount of pressure to really get that in there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more color, and I'm going to lightly just brush that on. I like to go in horizontally first and then feather that in vertically. And now I'm going to use my fingers and just smush. It's a very, very technical term, smushing, but it gets the job done. Okay, so once that's applied, I'm going to twist. And this just helps for cleanliness, just to get it out of the way. And I can drop that down. And then in between, just to make sure that you're not getting color, depositing color from one side to the other, you want to just have a towel handy just so that you can make sure that that's all nice and clean. So for this section, because this one goes pretty high up over here, I'm actually going to separate out just so I can work smarter, not harder. I'm going to separate that one little piece out and we'll come back to it. I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to grab this piece, use my Formula 3, which is that 8C and 8 Rose Metallic, and just apply that in. So another thing you might notice is as I'm applying it, I'm not applying it down like this. As I go down the hair of the section, I'm going side to side. What this is doing is just helping to make sure that I'm really, really saturating, because you don't want to spend all this time making a beautiful color melt only to have little holidays pop up where you did not get enough color saturated. Because when the color is supposed to be nice and blended and suddenly it's not, it just kind of looks a little wonky. Okay, so we're going to come back to this section here. So this little piece, I'm going to use Formula 3 on because it was supposed to be in with its little friends. So because this is going a little higher up and it was going to get covered, we wanted to separate that so that we can make sure that, again, we are fully saturating. And again, we're going to go up here and just smush that in. And then we're going to twist away from the face and just drop it down. And we're just going to continue to do this through the section, taking that slight zigzag parting and taking our chunky leaves. So I'm going to go again, zigzag parting. And now I'm going to take my chunky leaf. And there's honestly no specific amount that I'm taking. I want each weave that I take in each section to be different. I don't want it to be uniform. Uniform is not going to get me the look that I want. I've always just been a huge, huge fan of warm colors, especially on the right skin tone and paired with the right eye color, because when, you know, so many people are just like, oh, I like, you know, cool tones, I want ash, but they don't look good on everybody. And I love that warm tones, coppers, reds, all that fun stuff, they're making a comeback, and I am here for it. So I'm also making the choice not to have any foils or anything. I don't think that we need them. If I was going to place one, I would put it under here just to protect the skin. But honestly, that would be it. And the fun thing is with color melting, especially with this one, because the 8C is actually in the Formula 3 as well. If you forget to wipe your hands in between and you have a little color left on your hands from the previous section, that's totally okay. And the reason being is because, like I said, you have that 8C in both formulas. So if a little gets on there, it's totally fine. Nothing to freak out about. So I also like that with this melting technique, you can move through the section fairly quickly. The base color that I put on, I used about 60 grams of the 6BC. So her base is not natural, I put it on there, but her actual base originally was a level 5. So this at a level, using 10 volume, it's not really going to do anything to her base color, but what it is going to do is going to diffuse that line of demarcation from the highlights that I actually used on her. So I'm going to take this last section. These ones are going to go over here. So you can see how quickly I went through this whole section. You know, color melting does not need to be this very long process. So obviously, just for timing, I won't be able to rinse her out and show you the whole process, the whole finish. But what I am going to do is post in my stories on Instagram what the finished look is going to be. So if you are not following me already, I highly encourage you to start following me on Instagram. Again, it's For Love and Hair, all written out. Or you can head over to Shark Fin, and I tagged in their most recent post about this class. So that's another way you can find me. And like I said, I'm going to post the after over there so you can see it. And in every class that I teach, I always encourage people to test out the techniques that I'm doing and post your results and tag me, because I absolutely love seeing your work and I love seeing you trying my techniques and, you know, putting your own spin on them as well. All right, so this section is done. So I'm not going to do this side now because it's basically the exact same as this. So we're going to move on to the back. I will do it eventually, but you guys don't need to see me do the same thing once. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the back. So I've split the back into 3 sections. 1, 2, and 3. So this top section is, I'm applying it the same way, taking those sections, but I'm going to just go straight across, move up, and split them into 2 different spots again. I'm using a little bit of foil around here just so that her hair is protected as I get it out of the way. So in this section here, I'm going to go through and melt again. So some of these I've pulled the base color down pretty far. So I'm just going to comb that through a little bit and break that up. So I'm going to take my section here. I'm going to take my zigzaggy section and just move that over. And now I'm going to take my weave. So this bottom section does not have a lot of room for the accent colors, and that's totally fine because it's in the back of our head, and this is going to help create that dimension, which is going to look really pretty. Take our other section. Twist and drop. All right. Then take our next section here. These ones I'm taking much bigger sections because we don't need them to be we don't need as much dimension as we do in the front for this one. So I have my weave, I have my zigzag. Oops, just gonna fall over. All right, so I'm just combing through a little bit. All right, now I'm going to take my weave again. This time I'm going to take a little bit of a softer weave than I did on the previous section, just so I have more for that formula 3. All right, so now I'm applying my 8C. And smushing.
That smushing technique, did you make that up yourself or?
I wish I could take credit for it. I honestly do. I don't remember where I heard it. I just have always called it smushing, but it has other names, I'm sure. I just call it smushing because I think I mean, let's face it, it's smushing.
Smashing, crashing, bashing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I know there are technical names for things, like even when I'm working with curly hair, and there are, specific names for, there's like plopping and all these things. I'm like, you know what, if I'm not going to remember all of those, so I just kind of come up with my own terms that help me remember, like smushing, smudging, all that stuff. I'm just like, you know what, it works for me and it does the same thing, so it is what it is.
That's what matters. You know what the term means, and you can communicate what it means. That's what matters.
Exactly.
For everyone who's maybe joining us a little later, or just joining us on Facebook or Instagram, what product line are you using, and what are your formulas, please?
So I'm using all Kenra color today, and my Formula 1, which is her base color that I applied before we started, that is a 6 VC with 10 volume. I use 60 grams in equal of color and 60 grams of developer. And then her Formula 1, which is when I weave and separate all the hair that's going forward, this is my Formula 1. And that is my 8C with 10 volume. And I did 65 grams. And then my Formula 3, which is what I applied to this side, that is 20 grams of 8C and 45 grams of 8 Rose Metallic with 10 volume. And again, I'm using all permanent color today. But that's not to say that you have to melt with permanent color. I am just choosing to, and that is okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so with this, it's actually going to process for, once I'm done applying, it's going to process for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to wash her out using Alkali Beauty. I love the Extend shampoo and conditioner. I'm using those because they are perfect for after color services. They help to really lock in that color. And it smells amazing. And for people who are joining late, I'm going to post the finished results on my Insta stories so you can see what she looks like in the end, since you've all been here for this journey with me. So I want you to see what it looks like when she's all glammed up. All right, so this section is now almost complete. Like I said, we worked through it really, really quickly. One of the things I love about this melting technique is honestly just how quickly we can work through it. I am not the fastest person ever, and that's okay. I actually made a post yesterday about how you shouldn't be striving to be the fastest person. Being accurate, really honing your skills. Those are things that are a lot more important. Speed will come if it does. I've been doing this for a while, and there are things that I am a lot faster at, and there are things that I still, am very meticulous and take my time with, and that hasn't changed. But it's also why, just for timing, I started developing techniques that are time-saving techniques, because, our clients love to be with us. They love to spend that time, but, time is money, and we all got places to be. So this is my last section on this side here. And Willie, this is going to be saved to the YouTube as well, right?
Yes, definitely. So you guys haven't heard me back here, but I'm streaming the Facebook and the Instagram and like doing a little behind the scenes. But we've been doing live education for over 2 years now, and we've had all kinds of artists on, and it's cutting, coloring, consultations, updo, motivation, inspiration, and every one of those classes have been recorded and are on our YouTube channel, which is Sharkfin Shears. And just so you know, Sharkfin is 2 words. So Sharkfin Shears is 3 words. So if you go to YouTube and search it out, it's Sharkfin Shears. This class will be uploaded to our YouTube channel within probably 24 hours.
Yeah, and it's a great way, especially if you did join late, to be able to watch the class. And also refer back if there was anything where you're like, oh, I should have taken notes, or you wanted to see something again, just to watch the application. It's really helpful. And, who doesn't love free education, especially free virtual education? I think it's so important, for us to, doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're fresh out of beauty school, still in beauty school, or you are a master stylist who's been doing this for a million years. Continuing education is such an important part of our industry. It's how we grow. There are new techniques, new styles. Everything is constantly changing. So having an opportunity to access education at your fingertips from your phone, iPhone, computer, is such a blessing. Especially for people, who, can't always go out and go to a class, especially right now. So having this opportunity is really, really great. So I am working through this last section up here. Everything else is going to be the same, but I'm just going through and again, taking my weave and taking my zigzag section. So I'm actually going to pause here and finish her after the class, because I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I could do this all day, and I do. But so you can see kind of as she's drying her little twists. So you can see which section is which is really great. So like I said, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to finish her after the class, and then I'm going to post her on Instagram so y'all can see what she looks like after it's all done. But before I go, if there are any questions, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask now.
I don't see any questions.
All right.
Just the main ones were people just asking about formulas. So we posted that in the chat once I got it from you. So we're all good. Fantastic class.
Perfect. And then I will post the formulas that I used as well. Once all the colors and she's processing, I actually will take a picture of her processing and post it on my stories with just a little note of what each formula was and where I applied it. So it'll be a really easy guide for you guys. All right. Well, then I am going to go ahead and finish her. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into my class. I really, really appreciate you guys spending the time with me today. And I can't wait to show you the finished results.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Fantastic class as always. And I look forward to resharing the after pictures. Keep an eye on both Samantha's Instagram page for Love and Hair. And then once she's posted them, we'll steal them from her, so to speak, and make sure they're on our page as well. So as always, amazing job. Thanks for joining us. Stay cool out there in California.
I will do my best.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.